Episode number 139. On their arrival at the castle they learned that Buckingham and the king were walking in the marshes 2 or 3 leagues away. In 20 minutes they were on the spot named. Patrick soon caught the sound of his master's voice calling his falcon. "Whom must I announce to my lord Duke?" asked Patrick. The young man, who one evening sought a quarrel with him on the Pont Neuf, opposite the Samaritan. A singular introduction. You will find that it is as good as another. Patrick galloped off, reached the Duke, and announced to him in the terms directed that a messenger awaited him. Buckingham at once remembered the circumstance, and suspecting that something was going on in France, of which it was necessary should be informed, he only took the time to inquire where the messenger was, and recognizing from afar the uniform of the guards, he put his horse into a gallop, and rode straight up to D'Artagnan. Patrick discreetly kept in the background. "No misfortune has happened to the Queen?" cried Buckingham, the instant he came up, throwing all his fear and love into the question. "I believe not. Nevertheless I believe she runs some great peril, from which your grace alone can extricate her." "Aye!" cried Buckingham. "What is it? I should be too happy to be of any service to her. Speak, speak." "Take this letter," said D'Artagnan. "This letter? From whom comes this letter?" "From Her Majesty, as I think." "From Her Majesty," said Buckingham, becoming so pale that D'Artagnan feared he would faint as he broke the seal. "What is this rent?" said he, showing D'Artagnan a place where it had been pierced through. "Ah," said D'Artagnan, "I did not see that. It was the sword of the Comte de Wardes which made that hole, when he gave me a good thrust in the breast." "You are wounded?" asked Buckingham, as he opened the letter. "Oh, nothing but a scratch," said D'Artagnan. "Just heaven, what have I read?" cried the Duke. "Patrick, remain here, or rather join the king, wherever he may be, and tell his Majesty that I humbly beg him to excuse me, but an affair of the greatest importance recalls me to London. Come, monsieur, come." And both set off towards the capital at full gallop. 21. The Countess de Winter. As they rode along, the Duke endeavored to draw from D'Artagnan, not all that had happened, but what D'Artagnan himself knew. By adding all that he heard from the mouth of the young man to his own remembrances, he was enabled to form a pretty exact idea of the position of the seriousness, of which, for the rest, the Queen's letter, short but explicit, gave him the clue. But that which astonished him most was that the Cardinal, so deeply interested in preventing this young man from setting his foot in England, had not succeeded in arresting him on the road. It was then, upon the manifestation of this astonishment, that D'Artagnan related to him the precaution taken, and how, thanks to the devotion of his 3 friends, whom he had left scattered and bleeding on the road, he had succeeded in coming off with a single sword thrust, which had pierced the Queen's letter, and for which he had repaid them the words with such terrible coin. While he was listening to this recital, delivered with the greatest simplicity, the Duke looked from time to time at the young man with astonishment, as if he could not comprehend how so much prudence, courage, and devotedness could be allied with a countenance which indicated not more than 20 years,